Grace Owen is the founder and CEO of Savvy Growth, dedicated to helping leaders and their companies maximize success through speaking, consulting, and executive coaching services. She is a recognized expert in marketing strategy, and her firm focuses on emerging growth companies. An advisor to many, Grace serves as a coach who helps CEOs when they step into demanding leadership roles and benefit from having her be their experienced accountability partner. She also enjoys working with high potentials to help them achieve their career goals. Her 30 years of work experience spans from consulting at Bain & Company to working inside Fortune 500 brand leaders, General Mills and Clorox, to contributing to 5 technology ventures that had successful exits. In addition to serving on corporate boards, Grace has served on the boards of the Harvard Club of Research Triangle, North Carolina School of Science and Math Foundation, Big Brothers Big Sisters, and the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. She has also been commissioned as a Stephen Minister. She is an advisor to the North Carolina Chinese Business Association, SOAR Triangle, Innovate Raleigh, and serves on the advisory board of Elon University's Martha and Spencer Love School of Business. A published author and motivational keynote speaker, Grace has been named Top 8 Asian American Women of Influence by Audrey magazine. Following the 10th anniversary of a life-changing cycling accident, Grace started writing Project Peak on climbing the mountains of life, business, and beyond. Her interests include education, positive psychology, and endurance challenges. Grace is a graduate of MIT and earned her MBA from Harvard Business School. Please join me in welcoming Grace Owen.
Thank you so much, Dean Tadapalli, for inviting me to share in this very special day. So 26 years ago, I was standing in your same shoes, getting ready to receive my MBA diploma. I must admit, I have no recollection who was on our stage as our guest speaker. What I do remember is that earning my MBA was a very steep mountain to climb, and you all have made it. Congratulations. A big round of applause for the Elon Love School of Business new graduates, and for you, their families, for your love and support of this journey. Each of you holds a unique story. You embody a wide range of talents and work experiences. And each of you will go into or back into your work world now better equipped to tackle new challenges that life throws your way. You have made new friends, many of whom I hope will become your lifelong friends. And you have made a connection to Elon that you can call upon to support the new path that you have chosen to create for yourself. I encourage you to take advantage of both, friends and faculty. Invest in these relationships. Start as early as this year and keep going from there. I know my friends from business school have meant a great deal to me in the last 25 years. The weekend before my 40th birthday, classmates from Harvard Business School took me out for my 40th birthday dinner in Palo Alto. I had traveled from here in North Carolina to California to take a week-long cycling trip in Sonoma to commemorate my turning of age. Little did they know they'd be visiting me in Santa Rosa Memorial Hospital just a few days later. Yes, I went downhill at 40, literally. airlifted unconscious off Sonoma Mountain Road to a new state of mind. Suffering a broken neck and an injury to my brain, I lost my short-term memory, and my long-term memory came alive. One of several classmates who came to visit me told me it was scary. I was confused, incoherent, and he said I didn't even remember who he was. I was babbling in Chinese again, like I did as a baby. My first words were gan gan, meaning dry. I was telling my mom she didn't need to change my diaper. I fought hard in physical therapy, occupational therapy, and meetings with my neuro team to get my physical strength as well as my memory back. I had never had that much time on my back to think about life. My neuro team told me I had experienced a cliff event, when you almost die but don't. I was given a gift to realize just how precious life is. How are you going to spend your days when you have been given a second chance at life? Some of you have had that happen to you too, or to someone very close to you. I came to realize that we all have had our own cycling accidents. Time on my back gave me a chance to think of concepts to explore. I began to research, write, and speak on a couple of themes: the correlation between endurance athletes and those who start successful companies, as well as the correlation between those who climb the 7 summits, the tallest mountains on each of our continents, and those who start successful companies. And then, in the past few years, I've invested a great deal of study to the field of positive psychology, which has provided content to what I've titled Project Peak, workshops and talks I give on climbing the mountains of life, business and beyond. What started as a study for personal reasons, when my son, who is with us here this evening, was leaving home to go to college, and I greatly feared the loneliness of becoming an empty nester. This study has grown into content that I soon realized could positively impact my coaching and consulting clients to help them thrive and flourish. One of my first teachers was Tal Ben-Shahar, the creator of Harvard's most popular course ever on happiness. He shares research which posits that happiness is what brings success, not the other way around. As you progress in your career, you may think, when I just get that promotion to vice president, or when I become a CEO, then I will finally be happy. But it's not that way at all. When we are happy, that is when we will have success. And it is important to note that the levels of happiness amongst the Forbes 100 are not demonstrably greater than the typical middle-class American. The levels that are statistically significantly higher are for those who go from not having enough food to eat to getting into a situation where they are self-sustaining. That is when there is a significant difference in happiness. Daniel Gilbert, professor of psychology at Harvard, who spoke so powerfully at Elon's convocation this past spring, conducted research with assistant professors who were up for tenure. When they finally gained tenure, these professors experience a level of temporary elation, and then they simply go back to their set point. In fact, Gilbert's research revealed that those who had failed to receive tenure in the past few years were just as happy as those who had achieved it. The same is true with those who win the lottery. This research may be helpful to keep in mind as you progress in your business career journey, to focus on happiness, and then success will happen naturally. On your graduation day, I would like to share with you 7 themes I've developed for Project Peak, Climbing the Mountains of Life, Business and Beyond, in hopes they will help you as you advance in life with your new degree. Number 1, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. All of you will face a wide range of opportunities in the coming years. I work with clients to help them create such possibilities and then to have the courage to take a shot at them. I entered the world of entrepreneurship because of a last-minute call I received from a recruiter by the name of David Silver. A few years after receiving my MBA, my spouse was transferred back to Minneapolis, where my original sponsor at General Mills was very supportive and offered a spot back for me. General Mills, which was my first employer out of business school, was a truly wonderful company where I learned so much. David, the executive recruiter, however, asked me to consider joining a much smaller company, an educational software company where he said I'd have the chance to build the consumer channel for them. I said yes, and had the opportunity to use my experience from General Mills and Clorox to help build, creatively and ambitiously, the consumer brand and product lines for a company that had just gone public, and we grew very fast. We soon caught the attention of a couple of investors, one of whom was Kevin O'Leary, who purchased our small but fast-growing company along with another leading educational software company for $1 billion. He grew the combined entity further and shortly thereafter sold to Mattel for $4.2 billion. Kevin O'Leary is now better known as Mr. Wonderful, the name he's affectionately called on TV's famed Shark Tank. This was the first of 5 management teams of emerging growth technology companies I've had the chance to serve, all because of a call I accepted at the last minute from David Silver, which changed my path. Shots you take in the coming months will determine your future. If I had returned to General Mills, I likely would have stayed there and had a career with this Fortune 500 leader, which would have been a very good thing too, just a different trajectory. As I advise my clients, the shots you take today directly determine what future shots you will have the chance to take. What shot do you now want to take, armed with your new Elon Love School of Business degree? Number 2, failure is a good thing. We would be here all evening if I were to share with you all my failures, so I will spare you. Suffice it to say, almost everyone I know, including myself, has had a job or jobs that did not go well for them. Either they were fired or laid off, or they hated their job, or both. In any case, often this loss or failure is the best thing that could have happened to them, as it opens a door for another opportunity that is a much better fit. This is quite the normal course of life. If you didn't experience the bad, you would not appreciate the good. For years, each week, I have reviewed the prior week and top-line my accomplishments. In more recent years, since studying positive psychology, I strive to also think through my weekly failures. Failure is a good thing. View failure not as failure, but as feedback. We want more failures so we can experience success. When something doesn't go my way and I flop, rather than getting down, I try to immediately think, oh, another failure, good. That means I'm closer to success. I'm not saying that's easy, but that's what I try to do. So this coming week, try to count up 1 to 2, or if you've had a really good week, 3 or more failures you've accomplished. Number 3, speak the future now. I vividly remember my first week on the job at a startup, which ultimately had a very successful exit. I sat in a meeting with our founder, who was to be interviewed by our leading industry analyst, a critical meeting which my marketing team had sourced for him. This analyst was asking many probing questions about our product and what we were enabling. Our founder confidently answered all the questions, talking about our product if it were already mature, doing XYZ, when it barely did ABC. True, it wasn't our product roadmap, but even though I was only a few days into the job, I didn't think that we could quite do what our founder was saying. Well, I found myself and my marketing team in the months that followed willing the vision that our founder pronounced in that analyst call to happen. Why our CEO had so much trust in me and my marketing and product teams. Visionary entrepreneurs have the confidence to speak their future vision as being reality today. They will the future to happen. and inspire those around them to make sure this vision becomes reality. You can be that leader too. Number 4, power of visualization. When I became suddenly single in my early 30s, my family counselor would often say to me that being single with a baby son was not the picture I had for my life. While this situation was unexpected, I thought, how can I make the most of the time my young son is with his other parent? I joined a group and started training for endurance events, since the furthest I advanced in my athletic career was being a junior varsity football cheerleader. Starting out later in life was not easy. When I was preparing for my first marathon, my coach told me to make posters with the caption, "Grace the Athlete," and put them throughout my house. Athletic coaches across all sports use visualization to yield positive, winning outcomes. The brain doesn't know the difference between the real and the imaginary. How many of you have woken up from a nightmare suddenly in a panic and then said to yourself, thank goodness that was just a dream? You can trick your brain. I often keep visuals on my office wall and bathroom mirror of people I admire or situations I hope to find myself. I encourage my clients to do the same. What do you want to become? Make a poster. Number 5, channel fear to your advantage. I was having lunch with a friend and mentor years ago, a successful entrepreneur who has climbed 4 of the 7 summits. He asked me if I had a long-held fear. I gave it some thought, and while it may sound silly to many, I had a fear of diving headfirst into a swimming pool. I didn't have to face this fear in triathlons as we jumped into open water or swimming pools. Given how much I respected this mentor, I decided to take his question very seriously and address this fear. I hired the swimming coach I was working with at the time, a competitive Ironman athlete, and she took me to an aquatic center that had a well-laid-out deep end where elite athletes trained, and she taught me the proper technique. I realized with the right coach, the proper facility, and the right mindset, diving headfirst is easy and elegant. I then stepped back and realized that literally learning to dive in could help me figuratively dive into any challenge that I feared. Channeling your fear can also help you build your confidence. I now ask my clients, what are your greatest fears? When they share they are fearful of taking a certain action or making a key decision in their life, I ask them, what is the worst thing that could happen if you take this action? Framing their fear in this way usually makes them realize the worst thing is not that bad, that they can definitely survive. And certainly the best thing is very good. So that helps them to overcome their fear. Fear increases when unaddressed and can paralyze you. So I encourage you to face your fears head on, which leads to my next theme. Number 6, bias for action. There are 2 types of people in the world, those that make things happen and those that let things happen to them. Research shows that successful people have a bias for action. When I turned 40 and had my cycling accident, I had a wake-up call to live my life to the fullest. I had a huge bias for action as a result. Now, we don't want to have to careen down a steep mountain road and be airlifted unconscious to a new state of mind in order to really wake up and realize we will take whatever actions required to achieve our life's goals. Though 10 years later, when I turned 50, I actually did think it was time for another big event, preferably not going downhill in a cycling accident, to get my gears accelerating again. So I took the action to embark on my positive psychology journey, which resulted in creating Project Peak. Most people get stuck in the okay zone, where their positive experiences outweigh their negative by about 2 or 3 to 1. Research shows that peak performance happens just past the 3 to 1 ratio. My wish for each of you is to have these peak experiences and to thrive and flourish. 3 things I'd like to leave with you. Number 1, what are you most fearful of? Number 2, do you have a long-term goal or mountain you would like to climb? Number 3, you all have this fork in the road today in receiving your diploma. What will you now do differently in the coming week, the coming months? What will be your bias for action? And finally, number 7, enjoying the journey. Project Peak has been an immense growth experience. Just as entrepreneurs enjoy the journey more than reaching the summit, the same has been true for me. I wish you all the very best in climbing your mountains, and don't forget to enjoy your journey. Thank you so much.